Hello there, my Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. How you doing today? I am your reader, Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and all-around nice guy. Welcome to your twin flame reading for October-ish, October 2019 and beyond. Please, if you are new to my channel, you might want to go have a look in my description box for a couple of videos that I did clarifying twin flames, soulmates, and true lovers, as well as the clarifying true lovers and the true lover collective, but in particular the link underneath that, which would be from KAHN, spiritual teacher, his video on soul contracts, twin flames and soulmates redefined. Incredibly hopeful, a good thing to help balance that out, because twin flames and soulmates are not the same kind of contracts. They are both pre-incarnational contracts, things that you agree to do while you're down here, certain relationship patternings, but they are different. Soulmates are satisfying, you help each other heal. Twin flames are turbulent, tricky, tumultuous, triggery, transformative, and they teach you how to love and heal yourself, right? Not only in romantic sexual context, please. That is one form of a twin flame or a soulmate relationship. Believe me, you can have twin flames with your own family members, with people at work, with political officials that you've never met. They just trigger you like crazy so that you learn how to heal and love yourself. Cool. I like to get that out of the way, because I see so many readings where readers are saying that they're the same thing. Now look, whatever you believe, it's all fine and well. But this is what works for me. That like clarified a lot. The idea that you have only one twin flame or one soulmate, no. That you have many soulmate contracts and many twin flame contracts, but the purpose of each is different. So that's why this is a twin flame reading. And we are going to start with 3 Caroline Myss archetype cards. All of the decks that I'm reading are in the description box below. As a lot of information. I'm a Virgo. I got lots of info down there. Go have a look-see-duck-see, because there's a lot in there. How to book an appointment with me, stuff to my website. My book link is on there. Yes, I'm a writer as well as a reader. And by the way, for my returning subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. That's so sweet of you. You're helping me get to my goal, because I really want to do super live chat. I mean, I know I can do a live chat now, but I want to see what makes it so super. That being said, we are going to be using the language of divine masculine, divine feminine for these readings. Instead of divine yin, divine yang, which is what I prefer, takes it out of bodily gender. So we're not talking about bodily gender. We're not talking about females and males. We're talking about masculine, feminine dynamic, right? Yang and yin in that case. But we're going to start with the divine feminine, one archetype for the divine feminine, one archetype for the divine masculine, and one archetype for the relationship itself. Sort of like the third entity in any relationship is the relationship itself. So the cards have been blessed. Feels good, but these are always tricky. These are always tricky, the twin flames. It's tricky, turbulent, tumultuous, transformative. They are the crucible that holds us in place while we are transformed by the fires of the twin flame. Anyway, so let's dive in. My pantheons, please. One card in clarity to represent the divine feminine in this Libra collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Sun. Twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. Please, one card for the divine feminine. Ooh, the artist. Okay, so whether you identify as divine masculine or divine feminine, wait until some more cards are out so that you can maybe feel rather than think which is which is you. And of course, cross watchers are welcome to my channel. So let's have a look at the divine masculine then, please. My pantheon, same thing, one card of clarity for the divine masculine in this Libra collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. Please. one for the divine masculine. Who's the divine masculine? The divine child. This one just came up in Virgo. Not in the divine masculine position, but still. So if you have any placements of Virgo in your chart, you might want to go have a look. Okay, one more for the relationship itself. My pantheons, please. One card in clarity of clarity. The archetype of this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. The gossip. Okay, verbal Libras. We've got some cards on the table here, kind of already giving me a little push-pull about this. I can feel this dynamic as soon as these cards hit the table. Empath that I am. Now, I have Libra in Venus. So I've already asked that I be taken out of these readings, at least until afterwards, right? Let me see my part in it later so I can really be objective here. So let me read what's on these cards, and that will help explain. Remember, every archetype is light and shadow, essentially neutral, but it's our paths that help us to transform the shadow or the lead, alchemize it into the light or the gold. The artist archetype, light attribute, the gold you're shooting for. Expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. That's like what tarot readers do, right? We're expressing something just beyond the five senses, right? So this is an art. Tarot divination in and of itself is an art. But inspiring others to see life symbolically, like through symbols on cards. The shadow attribute, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others. Posing as the starving artist to elicit pity, unless you're actually starving, an actual starving artist. So keep that in mind. The creative family, sort of like the major arcana card of the creative family, the artist. And you know, I work with a lot of clients who are artists, but they don't know they're artists, and so they have creative constipation, like all of their intuition and their creativity starts showing up in their body and as emotional weight and stuff. So just because you're not a performing or visual artist, right, like music, dance, theater, you know, drawing, any of the visual, any of those arts, like, how do you cook? Like look at how you cook, look at how you make a bed, look at how you do a room. I'm just putting that in housework. But look at how you write, look at how you talk. Like, art is so much bigger. It's about creativity, but a lot of people don't see it just because they don't think of themselves as a classic artist, like in other words, the classic definition, the usual definition, but that there is a powerful creative artist archetype in the divine feminine at work here. The divine masculine has the divine child, one of the sub-archetypes within the child archetype. The child archetype is survival family. Everybody's got the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute. It's how we learn how to survive. It's developing the power of survival since birth. So the divine child is sort of a specific flavor. Light attribute, innocence, purity, and redemption. Like, what is redemption? It's like forgiveness, or when you go, oh my God, that's what all that was for. It's okay. It was all worth it, right? Like you're redeemed. Suggests a special connection with the divine. It's lovely for the divine masculine. But the shadow attribute, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces. Now, I have the divine child, and certainly growing up, I had a lot of trouble learning how to defend myself because I'm born empath and clairvoyant, of really sort of like how to know that those feelings weren't my own. It took me decades to understand that I was feeling what other people were feeling. And even then, once I knew that that's what they were feeling, I took it personally that it was all about me. It's called passive narcissism instead of aggressive narcissism, which we can spot now so easily. So this divine child, I mean, that purity, that innocence, that redemption, very, very important in a twin flame relationship. So whether you identify as the divine feminine or the divine masculine, you might not yet, because you might feel an attraction to both. Try not to stay too much in the head with archetypes. Does it have what's called animation? Do you go, ugh, or do you go, oh, like that? Is there energy running through you, or is it just like that? Then you probably don't have that archetype. It's probably not you. or at least not you in this twin flame relationship. Let's look at the twin flame relationship with the gossip. Now, as toxic as the gold, as the lead is, as magnificent as the gold is. So let's start with the gold. Light attribute. Awakens consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. Like when somebody tells you something, it's a hot, juicy one, do you keep it confidential out of consideration for their feelings instead of violating their trust? Now, this is why I don't have those kind of conversations without vows of confidentiality, and vows involve the gods. You do not want to break a vow to the gods once made. So the light of that is obvious. The shadow we know. Thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information. Like, get that? Thrives on the power of breaking confidence, right? Betraying confidence, betraying confidences. So we are really familiar with the toxicity of the gossip archetype and its shadow. But you know, gossip archetypes in their light keep secrets forever, are brilliant counselors that can actually draw out of people truth that in other circumstances with other people they won't, right? Truth they might not even realize. It's sort of magnetic that way, that they draw the truth out of people. And you know, I don't gossip. I am so bound to my vow of confidentiality that when somebody tells me something, I ask the gods, if I don't need to know this, please make me forget it until I need to remember it, if ever. Because I have had my own confidences betrayed so many times. Now, the TV gossip, you know, that's a little different. Celebrities, you put yourself out in the public like that, that just comes with the business. It's part of fame nowadays, kind of always was. People are always going to talk, particularly for Libras. To keep that in balance is tricky because it's such a mental thing. So there's some gossip going on here in this relationship. So let's clarify. We are going to clarify with the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, 5 cards, fire, earth, air, water, spirit. We're essentially doing a pentacle called the element spread to help find out about this divine feminine part of the twin flame relationship. Fire for what she wants, and I am using he and she for divine masculine, divine feminine. Earth for what she has to help her get what she wants. Air, what she's thinking. Water, what she's feeling. And spirit as an overview. Okay, so my gods, please. Element spread, top 5 cards, please. Fire, earth, air, water, spirit for the divine feminine in this Libra collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. What does the divine feminine want? What does she have? What does she think? What does she feel? And what is the overview for this Libra collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond? Top 5 cards, element spread. Top 5 cards, I hear you, element spread. Top 5 cards, element spread. Maiden, mother, crone, itch. Okay, so heal the decks. And here we go. What does the divine feminine want? The element of fire, desire, will, and choice. Well, we've got the Cancerian card. Now, maybe they want a Cancer, but really this is more of that emotional nurturance, right? Cancers are the mothers of the zodiac. So considering there is an artist here, there's something here about emotional depth, creative, or cardinal water. So in this relationship, for there to be a nurturing of creativity, right? Every artist wants to be nurtured, but in twin flame relationships, might be the kind of thing that you can only do for yourself, right? To give yourself that nurturance, hence the twin flame contract in general. But also that there's a wanting of deeper guidance here, a wanting to really be able to feel things out and not get so locked into the head, which is definitely more of the divine feminine's bailiwick, to kind of more feel things out, particularly as an artist. I mean, unless your art is really technical, like technical art, architecture, stuff like that. Or even like classical, like ballet, very, very technical, very, very intellectual in a way. You could say that about the violin, the piano, any instrument as well. So this is really more of that emotional, intuitive, joyful, supportive, warm, creative, emotional Cancerian energy, as well as fourth house, to feel at home in their own skin or to be at home emotionally in a relationship. What does she have? What is the earth that feeds the fire like the wick feeds the flame? Another water sign, Scorpio. So that what they want is deep inside of them. So if you're the divine feminine watching this, that Scorpio indicates go within. Yes, 8th house is mysticism, mystery, and other people's resources, money, sex, and power. But this is telling you to go within. Now, particularly with 2 court cards, right? In this case, the mother and the crone of cups. We're looking about emotional issues, obviously, and this may be triggered by other people, and certainly 2 in a row, one representing what you want, the other representing what you have. Really, really go deep to make the connection that there may be some mirroring here. That if this does represent the person that you are in this twin flame relationship with, there's a mirroring there in terms of you connecting with your own deeper interior world. No, it does not mean that you have to be a Scorpio. But certainly that you have, well, and Scorpio is also the unconscious mind to a greater extent, right? It's the underworld. This is Hecate, goddess of the crossroads, technically a Titan, daughter of, technically a Titan. So, you know, to go deep within your own collective creative unconscious and art from that place. Come from that creative place, but to fixed water, to focus in on that warmth, that nurturance that is already within you. Hence, again, twin flame contracts. What does the divine feminine think about all of this? Well, she's thinking a lot about security, right? 4 of Pentacles. How are my vessels going to be filled? Will this well run dry? So security issues, not necessarily insecurity, though we'll see what other cards hit the table, but it's on their mind. And certainly for an artist to look at financial stability and security in general is not unheard of, unless they've made it big or have a patron or just have it like that. But that's, again, professional artist. But there is something on their mind here in this twin flame relationship about the stability and the security of the relationship and perhaps even their own lives. Because, you know, the artistic life is tricky. I mean, like I said, unless you don't see yourself as an artist, but then really go deep and get that there's creativity. Everybody has creativity. Not everybody is an artist necessarily. There are other archetypes in the creative family of archetypes. But this pattern is so clear about the artist for the divine feminine in this. Just to keep that in mind, that security is usually an issue because you have to be kind of secure to put your art out there, right? So that can be, yes, emotional security, but security about the physical. 4 of Pentacles. Hold on. What's she thinking? What you thinking, divine feminine? About mental resolution. Now, 10 of Blades, so much prettier in this deck. The rattle, the passing of this talking stick. Everybody gets to talk and everybody has to listen when they're not talking, right? To get all the puzzle pieces out on the table to resolve, to see a larger picture. Yeah, I get, you know, that 10 of Blades, Rider Waite, thank you, Pamela Coleman Smith. Bam, 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 those 10 swords in the back. Being the end of a mental struggle situation, but this just feels so much more like emotionally, like I need to express myself. That because it's an air sign in a water position, it's like bubbles bubbling up, these bubbles of creativity, and where is it coming from? So I get that Scorpio depth in this divine feminine, really wanting the security and the emotional safety in order to resolve some things, yeah, in terms of their creativity, maybe not just as an artist, but, you know, as a creative being and as a co-creator in any type of relationship, let alone a twin flamer. Overview, please. What's the overview here? Okay, that creativity is going to come barreling to the surface. It's on its way. The magma is boiling, right? hitting critical mass within Pele, the volcano, right? Ba-boom. It may be a slow burn, but it's not going to be for much longer. The 5 of flames, an internal building of pressure. And the 5 is actually the blowing of that pressure, that reaching up through the levels, expressing oneself. And of course, that can be volatile. Now, if that's channeled energy, if that's channeled creative sexual energy, that can really come into a personal breakthrough for anyone, let alone an artist, divine feminine archetype. All right, we will come back to that later, because now we're going to look at the divine masculine, and with that we're going to use the mythic tarot. So please, my gods, top 5 cards, element spread for the divine masculine in this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. Please, please, top 5 cards. What does he want? Element of fire. What does he have? Element of earth. What does he think? Element of air. What does he feel? Element of water. And what is the overview? Element of spirit. Top 5 cards, element spread. Top 5 cards, element spread. One more. Top 5 cards, element spread. Maiden, mother, crone. Maiden, mother, crone. All right. So, divine masculine, what do you want? Well, the 5 of Cups, right? Emotional disruption, emotional change. Here is Psyche, who had just dripped some oil on Eros while he was sleeping, because she did not believe he was who he said he was. So out of her own curiosity, thanks to her sisters in the 4 of Cups, actually breaks her vow to him. Sees he's beautiful, sees he's the god of love, and he awakens and is like, how could you? You weren't supposed to. This breaks our agreement. And off he goes, bringing her into despair. Now, you got to ask, with this divine child archetype, is that something that the divine masculine wants, or is wanting resolution to this? Wanting this emotional upset to shift, to change, a storm that passes. Well, and what I'm getting on this too is that the emotional upset is probably about things being revealed. Yes, that's indicative in this card, but I think that's why I can feel that's why this one came up, that there are secrets that have been hid, things held back, and that might be the cause of some of the emotional turbulence here. Unexpressed emotion feels a little volatile, which would make sense with that volcano card going on in a twin flame relationship with the divine feminine. That actually makes quite a bit of sense. So what do you have? What's the element of earth? The wick and the candle that feeds the flame for the divine masculine. Another 5 of pentacles, right? To be left out in the cold, right? Literally, to be struggling. Now, considering that the divine feminine has the 4 of pentacles in the air position, that here the divine masculine is really feeling, just keep moving, not walking away like the 8 of Cups, but that thing really is unable to get in. That there is great frustration here. Now, 2 5s in this, in the fire, in the air, so there's a lot of change going on here. So the change that needs to happen here is for the divine masculine child to experience its own being neglected or abandoned. The artist is obviously trying to get some stuff done within herself, right? The divine feminine artist. And the divine child here might not be doing very well with dealing with the negativity that's rising up inside of them as a result of at least perceiving that it has been shut out. However, because it's the divine child, if you're the divine masculine watching this, if you're the cross watcher, either way, then really do have a look here about going to the divine. Then you have a special connection with the divine to get what you need there, because the gods don't shut you out, right? It's like the sun is always shining. The clouds may obscure, may cover, but cannot snuff out the sun. The divine is always there. And you know, even looking at this card, there is a waning crescent moon. You probably can't see that on camera. It's very faint, but if you can see it up there in the corner, that this is, you know, halfway through the suit of pentacles. But there's something here really not so much about sneaking away, but of trying to get through the gate and can't. So to deal with that, that's what you have. You have to deal with that feeling of perhaps being ghosted or locked out, so to speak. What do you think about this, Divine Masculine? Well, you've got the Aquarian card here, right? The Queen of Swords, fixed air, going into the cold, hard, logical, seeing things a bit impersonally. Now, impersonally doesn't have to mean meanly, like as a mean person or an angry, impersonal that way, but to rise up and see it from a higher place, as though you were watching it on TV, as though you were watching it from a satellite view. That in the mental space for the divine child, it is sort of like prayer, saying, lift me above the fray. Help me see this from the point of view of my soul, from my higher self, from my true self, from my gods, my angels, my masters, whoever, because I am suffering here. I am feeling this alienation, left out in the cold, being turned away, can't cross the drawbridge into the castle. And so what they want is some of that revealed, even if it creates more change and more tumult. Like, why have you locked me out? Now, does that mean automatically that the divine feminine has locked this person out? That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is that the divine feminine here, particularly with that artist archetype, they're going through something that they may not be so communicative. Just because someone's an artist doesn't mean that they need to, want to, or have to verbalize everything they're going through to everybody around them. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of that because I'm a verbal artist. I let people know, right? Not social media, everything. But, you know, particularly to the people that if I'm having a rough day, they're like, hey, you want to do this? Like, I'm not just going to say no. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going through a bit of a rough point. Let's talk about it after if you want, you know, to be clear about that. But, you know, that's not the modus operandi usually for an artist, particularly a divine feminine artist, where there's so much emotion going on here in this spread. Thinking about their own security, that this might have nothing to do with the divine masculine at all. So it's really good that because the divine child there can really go to their special connection with the gods, with the masters, with the angels, to see it from a more humanitarian, friendly Aquarian place. And yeah, dry air, fixed air, stratospheric, but certainly better than being down in the swamps with it all. But that feeling of being left out, neglected, abandoned, looked over, overlooked. Yeah, I can feel that in there. It sucks. But you're dealing with an artist. It really has nothing to do with you. But it's going to trigger, right? What are triggery twin flame relationships? Who hasn't been ignored, looked over, abandoned, neglected? And very few people, I'm sure, haven't. So what are you feeling, divine masculine? Interesting. The King of Pentacles, Capricorn, that you're sort of feeling, though, your own Saturnian, Capricornian long-term journey here. That you have the strength to endure this. You have the strength within you. You have the ability to set your own boundaries of what it is that you will stand for and you won't stand for, what you'll stand up for and what you will not stand for. There's such a feeling here of slow and steady wins the race, that there is an emotional durability that the divine masculine can tap into here that I'm sure they've tapped into before, but to do it deliberately. To say that I am going to slow my roll on this. I'm going to stand up for myself and my own self-esteem and my own clarity. I'm going to stabilize, hug, love myself, even if it's eyedropper full by eyedropper full a little bit at a time, I will get there. So it's interesting that in the position of air, what he's thinking, he's got an air sign. This is King Midas, that in the water, he's got King Midas, the Midas touch, turning whatever he touches to gold. But that there is something, interestingly enough, very stable and durable, perhaps under some of the emotions here. Very long term. I mean, this person feels like they can, well, pardon the reference, but love you long time, right? They can really, really, really love for the long haul. So I get the attraction, particularly if the divine feminine's kind of thinking in terms of her security. This person is pretty emotionally secure, which may be like, well, then why the hell did you ghost me? You know, I want to know what this is about. Why is this tumultuous stuff here? And really getting in their head about it, but trying to see it from a higher point of view. If the spirit, if the divine can be brought into that, that'll definitely make it simpler, if not easier. So outcome, overlook, really overlook. Spirit, what's the overlook here? The Hermit, Chronos, right? Matter of time, matter of time. Definitely a sense of being ghosted, of being on your own, right? You may not know why. With an artist, don't always expect explanations or reasons. They'll give you because. That's the reason why, because it's where I was brought into. I'm not saying that the divine feminine is flighty or a ghoster necessarily. As I said, there's a mental resolution going on here with the rattle, the Ten of Blades. You know, there's some wanting more nurturing, more emotional space perhaps for herself. Remember, oh, I don't have enough rings to make the noise, but Cancerians live within their own homes, right? To maybe kind of like pull it behind their own boundaries and go through what they're going through. And remember, there's this scorpionic depth going on here right now, and her security's on her mind. I get it, but ba-boom, it's going to come up and out sooner or later. So be careful, divine masculine, but just be aware that there are other dynamics in play in the divine feminine's life here in this twin flamer that you may have no idea about, because the divine feminine might just be tapping into all of this stuff. So with our two element pentacles laid down, now we're going to look at the gossip archetype in a different manner. Remember, this is the relationship itself. And what we're going to do with that first is we are going to take a Healing with the Angels oracle. My angels, please, one card in clarity for this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for the month of October 2019 and beyond. Please, a card of clarity. Considering we have the gossip archetype here, please, a piece of your angelic guidance and grace. Listening. Come on with the gossip. That's a little on the nose, right? Listening. Now, really, I take that card to be that, you know, your angels are listening, right? Your higher powers are listening. Not that, you know, ooh, you better watch out, you better not cry. You know, it's not Santa Claus on a celestial level, but that your prayers are being heard, but that you also to listen, not just to what that is being said, perhaps in gossip, but for both of you to really listen beyond what is being said, to the intentions behind what is being said. And should you two, like, again, not necessarily, like, I'm not seeing anything overtly romantic here, by the way, like, at all. So if this is between twin flame friends, which is a tricky relationship right then and there, to really be listening, that when you do communicate with each other, if you communicate with each other, with that Hermit card, I'm not so sure. With that Scorpio card, I'm not so sure. To really listen, but as well as to listen to your spirit, listen to your soul. Listen to the voices that rise within your own being in terms of emotion and let them be heard. Just don't act on them. But the angels are definitely aware of what's going on here. So particularly divine child, and yes, artist archetype here. Ask your angels. I mean, it's a little cliche, but say, okay, help me with this then. I have learned that when I'm stressed, that means one thing. The ego is trying to do it on its own. And that's, now I'm catching it sooner and sooner and sooner. I go, oh, here I am. And I invite the universe to work through me and do it for me on my behalf for the well-being of all that I am now. And so it is. Thank you, Matt KAHN. Most important decision you can make, is to not passively surrender, but actively surrender. To say, all right, do it through me then, you show me. Grace of Humility is helpful with that too. Go read my book, Words of Grace. It's on the website, easy to find. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull one each from the 2 tarot decks. Now, when I started laying these out, I was like, oh no, you know, those aren't about the divine masculine and divine feminine, except every time they fit the table, they have been. But still, I'm going to pull the cards as I have done for the previous reads. So please, my gods, one card in clarity for this twin flame relationship involving the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign here. The twin flame relationship for the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. We've got the gossip archetype with listening. What say you? Taurus, life values. Maybe it's about a Taurus, maybe it involves a Taurus, but Taurus for me, second house, is about life values. The things that we value lifelong, like honesty, like confidentiality, like warmth, and not just physical warmth. That physical warmth kind of sucks in like 99-degree weather, but like the warmth and comfort of home, the value of a safe emotional space for an artist. If you value open, honest communication, right? So there are definitely some life values being looked at and tested here, no question, in this twin flame relationship because of that gossip. And listening, yikes. Listen to your soul, listen to your conscience, not so much your consciousness, your conscience. Your better angel saying, hey, you know, do you really want to do this? That's grace. That voice in you goes, are you sure you want to be saying this? You sure you want to break this confidence? You sure you want to hear this? That's when people are like, do you want to hear something? I'm like, well, it depends, right? I tune into my gut, and there are times where I'm just like, don't even say a word, don't even want to know, because I can feel my second chakra go, like it wants to leave the country, let alone the conversation. All right, my gods, please, one more time. From the Mythic Tarot here, one card of clarity for this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond, because we got the gossip with listening and the Taurus card of life values, the great corn mother, the great feeder, right? Please, one card of clarity. What say you? 4 of Swords, a time of rest and meditation, deeper contemplation. Love that there. That makes a lot of sense. That just hush up, right? Just rest, just chill out. Meditate on the many different directions that your life may go, the many different ways. So rather than gossip, not just shut up, contemplate, meditate, really go deeper, go beyond the thoughts, into the feelings, the desires, the will. Because look, we all get tested with gossip. And, you know, gossip, what is it? A rumor can run around the world before the truth has its boots on. That's a Terry Pratchett quote, my favorite author. God's bless and rest his soul. That take this 4 of Swords time, this chill out, to maybe not so much communicate with each other, but to get back in touch with your own inner stillness and silence, which doesn't sound like fun, but I'm telling you, is as soothing, as satisfying as any other type of experience we want to have in a relationship. It is the relationship with the soul that is the doorway. So just chill out, just meditate on your life values. What is of value to me lifelong? Values that you really can't shake. Yes, you can go against, but then your conscience really kicks in. And that word is sort of orbiting my head here. Your conscience, not just your consciousness, but are you conscious of your conscience when it talks? Little Jiminy Cricket energy there for you. Let's ask then the masters. My masters, please, one card in clarity for this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. We've got the gossip with listening, which speaks of itself. We've got the Taurus card of second house life values and the 4 of Swords, that contemplation. Can you please give us some of your divine guidance and grace? Just one card, I'll take it. Withdrawal. Yeah. There is a pulling back here to do just that, to get clear. So we still have 3 more cards to go, and that are the Whispers of Love, which I find often tidies things up and closes some open circuits here. But just feeling this so far with that withdrawal, it doesn't make sense. That kind of withdraw from listening, right? Withdraw from the chitter chatter, because if your relationship is public, there might be a lot of chatter going on. He said, she said, which could be very emotionally upsetting, and feeling the divine masculine feeling left out in the cold. I get that, being excluded. Both of you, if you can, pull back. Now, by the way, the gossip, thank you, the gossip archetype is part of the creative family. So be careful, artist, about the gossip, that you are not creating not just problems, but kind of that if the perspective, that's why to really take the time out here, particularly with that volcano, that you don't put somebody on blast on social media. You will regret it, because things are just not being seen clearly here. There needs to be a true listening to each other, a true open communication, but right now everybody's withdrawn to their own corners. This just feels so twin flamey. Work on yourselves individually. That is what the twin flame relationship sets you up for anyway. And let's get you some guidance and grace from the higher selves of all involved. Fifth dimension and above. 3 more, 1 for the divine feminine, 1 for the divine masculine, and 1 for the twin flame relationship. Whoopsie, in and of itself. So please, the higher selves of all involved, 1 whisper of love, please, for the divine feminine in this Libra collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign in twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. Be supportive, divine feminine. Make a genuine effort to show you care. Might be a good idea for you to reach out, just to be supportive. If you can't, if you're not ready, I get it with that Scorpio underworld stuff going on. Feeling some resolution that there are things that you need to say, but be supportive of this twin flame divine masculine. They've pulled back because they're kind of sort of licking their wounds. They're not sure. And if they heard this gossip, maybe you started it, maybe you didn't. I don't know. That's probably different in different aspects of the collective I'm reading for here. But they might be really hurt for no reason, but it's still their hurt. So just be supportive. Something as simple as, hey, you okay? Sorry I had to disappear. I'm going through something. It doesn't, you know, those are the best words you can say to somebody when you have to disappear. Say, this has nothing to do with you, letting you know in advance. I'm triggered as fuck. Yes, you may have triggered me, but that's not your fault that you triggered me. It was my trigger, right? To be an adult about it. Be supportive, and of course be supportive to yourself. Never at the expense of yourself, but you know, you've got security on your mind, so the best way to help yourself feel stable and secure is help someone else feel stable and secure. Though in a twin flame relationship, that may be what they want, but you may not be able to give it to them. Like, I've been in twin flame relationships where no matter how insecure the other person was, it doesn't matter what I said. They were just always afraid. And it's okay. It's like, I get it, but that has nothing to do with me. But I love you, and I want you to do well, and I want you to be happy with or without me, you know? So if you're going to disappear, it's okay to let them know. It has nothing to do with you. Be supportive of yourself and the others, not one at the expense of the other. It's not an either or, it's a both and. Thank you, Elizabeth Kiefer, my friend, for teaching me that. Brilliant Scorpio process healer, my friend Elizabeth Kiefer. She's a keeper. Shimmering Heart Creations on Facebook. Go check her out. Helped me through my first marriage. Well, after the aftermath of my first divorce, technically. Yes, I was married to a man. At 22, what the fuck was I thinking? Yeah, I had great hair. He's a hair colorist. I am Libra. I do have Venus and Libra. All right, so higher selves of all involved. You like how I do that? I cleared the slate. Higher selves of all involved, please. 1 card for the divine masculine in this Libra collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. Please, a piece of your higher self guidance and grace for this divine masculine. Like attracts like. If you are longing for more love in your life, you need to be more loving. Like attracts like. Now that's also to say, perhaps, my darling divine masculine, that they have pulled back and you are pulling back, And it's sort of like that like attracts like, and the communication's not going on here, but there seems to be a shit ton of gossip going on here, which, you know, isn't great. And it's the game of telephone alone is ridiculous. Well, I guess now we call it cell phone. Play the game of cell phone. Can you hear me now? Like attracts like. Make sure you are giving yourself what you need here. If like attracts like in a twin flame relationship says anything to me, it's like, give yourself what they cannot give you. And then by all means, do not treat them the way that they treated you, right? Like attracts like. It's not about being the bigger person. It's about saying, what would love do here? And if I really want to nail the dismount, now that I get that this is a twin flamer that I'm in, that it's a torturous, tumultuous, transformative, tricky, triggery relationship, all to teach me how to love and heal myself, well, then let me do that, but then let my conduct mirror that as a divine masculine, more yang. Let me reach out to them as well at some point and say, look, I'm sorry I pulled back, I'm just triggered as fuck. And, you know, same thing. That's the thing with twin flames. You're twins, you mirror each other, right? One more. Last card down for the relationship overall. And then we'll do the quickie overview at the end, and I'll pop up a picture of this spread because it's pretty. All right, the higher selves of all involved, please. One card for this Libra collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign twin flame relationship for the month of October 2019 and beyond. Please, a piece of your higher self grace for this overall relationship. Speak the language of love, not shocked. Loving words have the power to change someone's life, including your own. And that's why you do really take your time, no rush, but you really do need to kind of communicate with others, to speak the language of love. Yeah, now I get this, but you know, this could be parental, this could be mother-child, father-child, this could be all sorts of different relationship patternings. But with gossip and third-party chit-chat and stuff like that, you know, hearing, well, I heard through this person, who heard through that person, that it's challenging your values. Really go inside and really meditate on the value of this relationship in terms of your own personal transformation. The relationship being the obstacle course, if you want to see it that way. It ain't a day at the beach, I'll tell you that. Because your withdrawal, if you're going to withdraw both sides, do it to really get clear on what it is that you value bedrock. What is your bedrock lifelong values here, to meditate and contemplate on that. And stop listening to the gossip. Instead, speak the language of love, even if you have to do that through prayer, right? Even if you just say the words out loud without them being there, or you write the letter that you don't send, just to kind of express yourself, particularly the artist, that might be helpful. But, you know, for this divine child, I get the feeling that the divine child's just like, well, what the fuck happened? Well, okay, you're going to pull away, then I'm going to pull away, right? You're going to do that, then I'm going to do that. Only way that this divine masculine might be able to defend themselves against the negativity if there is gossip going on here. So, in quick overview, on the divine feminine, we've got this divine feminine artist who's very much wanting safe emotional space to be, right, emotionally creative in her own skin, in her own home, in her own environment. And what she has to do that is her own interior depth to go within. And that would make sense why the divine masculine might feel a little bit abandoned or ghosted, left out in the cold, because there is this deeper dive in that is going on for the divine feminine. And what she's thinking about in that is in terms of her own physical security, not just physical safety, though that may be part of it, but that sense of being secure, that her own security she can give herself, her own emotional support she has to give herself. We all have to give ourselves that to a greater or lesser extent, regardless of what type of relationship that we are in. But the mind with that 10 of blades is coming to a resolution, and all of the different voices are being heard within her. So if you want to look at the child in her, the victim in her, the victimizer in her, the saboteur in her, prostitute in her, the artist in her, right, the lover in her, you know, all of those voices within need to be heard and loved, but not necessarily acted on, because with that 5 of flames, that Pele the volcano in the overview, this it feels like this withdrawal is not for very long, that when it finally does pop, we hope that she does so being supportive, making a genuine effort to show you care. That had to care for myself because I knew my divine masculine twin flame partner here, that this is something I had to do for myself that you couldn't do for me, and I'm sorry that I did that and I ghosted, but you know, I just didn't know what else to do. This was about me, not ultimately about you. Looking here at the divine masculine, something similar, right? What does he want? The 5 of Cups wants to understand, why did you knock my cups over? You know, why did you just disappear out of nowhere? I just asked a question. I just wanted to know the truth. Just wanted to know what was going on. And now what he has to do with that is deal with this feeling of being abandoned, left out in the cold, sort of impoverished. There's a good word. Though it may not be financially, it might be about the affection. It might be about the feeling of the loss of the connection and being neglected, rejected, and turned away. And going into the mind with the Queen of Swords, trying to see it from a more humanitarian place, perhaps even achieving that here and there, but with that King of Pentacles and the emotional part of it, the feeling of really wanting step by step that connection, the physical part of it, the being together in the same place, though it may be hard, though it may need limits, it may need boundaries and clarified parameters, which is boundaries. But overall, with that card of the Hermit here too, we've got two people in a twin flame that are really taking their own space right now. And with like attracts like, that makes sense. But if the divine masculine can really ignite that divine child within them to love innocently, to pray, to meditate, to whatever practice helps soothe, then like attracts like. If you're longing for more love in your life, you need to be more loving. So even to send love silently. May you be blessed with all the love that you need. May you be blessed. It's a great way to sort of torch through a twin flame relationship. Trust me, I've done it more times than I've had shoes in this life. Well, new shoes, I should say. And then our center hallway here, our center lane, this gossip archetype with listening. It's like you can listen to it, but don't let it penetrate too deep. Just be aware. You've given people something to talk about here, and they are talking. But listen to your better angels. Really listen to your own truth, your own gut, your own guidance, your own gods, because it's ultimately about tapping into this, you know, Corn Mother, Mother of Pentacles, the Taurus card, your lifelong values that come through sitting in silence and meditation and contemplation, which is silent on the outside, not so silent on the inside, but it's certainly more than just the mental part of it, but certainly a deep interior focus. And that does take withdrawal, but then that's healthy withdrawal. That is stepping back and stepping away. But to speak the language of love being the overall point here, to really communicate to each other. You know, I've been hearing shit and it's triggering me like crazy, but I just needed to pull back and make sure that I'm okay with me. Let's speak the language of love. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. A little ho'oponopono there. Look that one up. Ho'oponopono, Hawaiian problem-solving technique. So, my beloved Libras, this is complex, but you're Libras. You're air signs. There's a lot to think about here, but you're welcome for that. Give it your best, and may you be blessed with everything that you need in this twin flame relationship for October 2019 and beyond. May you be blessed with all that you need to heal, to grow, to learn, to transform, to love yourself, to heal yourself, to give yourself what you want and what you need for the well-being of all. But for now, hail, farewell, and blessed be.